Would you rather see a Kivior against a Vinny or a Ben White against a Vinny?
So Kirio would probably in this scenario play left back, right? So he'd be up against Rodrigo. The answer is a resounding no. It's that simple. However,
I don't think he
um,
can match Rodrigo for pace though.
yeah, he's quick.
It's actually
Yeah,
crazy.
But
yeah,
when they get to the box, it's over. It's
yeah,
over.
he's
He's
quick.
giving up pens or he's giving up goals.
Yeah, but I think in the center of the pitch, Ben White is aggressive enough and he's cute enough to be okay, especially with someone like Mbappe. He's not going to play with his back to goal. Ben White can essentially go with him. Now, obviously, he's going to get beaten for pace. That's obvious, but he can be cute. You know what I mean? He can give him a little tug, a little kick here and there, kind of thing. Nothing nasty, kind of thing, but just to throw him off a little bit. And if he does get past him, then Saliba can clean up. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. This is your host, Dean, and we are here to talk about Everton won, one undeserved. Arsenal won at Goodison Park. Arsenal's last visit to a very historic stadium filled with shitty assholes that pressure refs all the time and piss me off. But here to discuss all this bullshit with me are Gabby. What's going on, Gabby?
Get me to May 25th. Get me to May 25th.
And Coach. How you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. It's been a good Saturday, apart
Yeah.
from stupid refs, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. So as I said, we're here to talk about Arsenal Everton, a game that in its own right should have a lot of significance given the history between the clubs, given the fact that Arsenal's manager used to play for Everton's manager and he used to play for Everton as well. And given the today at least the far more important fact that both clubs decided to acknowledge the life of a very lovely player who we lost too soon, Kevin Campbell. In the ninth minute, I think the whole ground applauded for him,
Yeah.
and I thought
Thank
that
you,
was
song as well.
yeah, that was a really beautiful moment. But despite all that, this game feels a bit, or felt and still feels a bit like an afterthought because there's a more important game on the horizon for Arsenal, the Real Madrid game in the Champions League. We're going to
That's a
talk
big fish to fry already.
yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But that is the context that overhangs this entire game. So anything that seems silly to you outside of the refereeing is probably a function of the fact that Arsenal were more focused on the Real Madrid game than they are the Everton game that they just played. But per usual, we'll start with the lineup. Today it was Raya, Ben White, who we haven't seen in a while. He's come back from surgery, but he hasn't quite been himself since, and he missed the last game against Fulham due to a niggle of some sort. Saliba, Kivior, MLS, Jorginho, Marino, Rice, Sterling, Trossard, and Waneri. Coach, I'll start with you. What did you make of that lineup? What did you think? What do you think the goal was tactically? Because we know that rotation was important due to health. Let's just put that aside. But tactically, what do you think Ateta was trying for here?
I'll start from the attacking line, and first of all, I was completely gobsmacked that Sterling started. I will not lie to you. I was shocked as hell. Like
Pause.
yeah, yeah.
I just want to acknowledge that this nigga said gobsmacked. I think
But you
that's the
guys don't,
first time I had that on the pod, so I want to acknowledge the moment.
you
Okay.
guys don't say that over there.
We don't vocalize it. We just have it in books like Harry Potter or something. I don't.
Yeah.
I never said gobsmacked in my whole life, but I've read it. What's that?
every so often, unfortunately, the Brit drops out. But yeah, I was really shocked. I was like, oh, okay, he really wants these boys to be. He basically wants them to risk another hamstring injury on Wednesday, running their life away. Basically, no, sorry, on Tuesday, my bad. Um, so yeah, that was the first thing. The second thing was the midfield. He definitely wanted to physically impose himself there, but also try and set traps for them, which I think worked amazingly in the first half as well, to be fair. And yeah, I think what else can be said about the defense? We're playing what we have, basically.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, I don't know. I don't really have this on the agenda, and it feels out of place. But I just want to jump straight into it because I know Gabby that we've decided that Kivior can probably go in the summer. But what did you make of his general performance today?
I actually thought he was good today. I know that you always have to get a lick for some white boy in the team, so I know we're gonna get to it later on, but I actually think his overall performance was pretty good. I mean, we've seen like Kivior pull some stinkers in the squad. And this was one of his better performances. Um, and I think the best part of it was his passing, which we'll get to. But
Indeed, indeed. So before we proceed, and I'm probably doing this out of order, how are you feeling about Kivior starting against Real Madrid in a couple days?
personally, I still wanted Ben White and Timber to start. Like I would still take a rusty Ben White at like at center back and a Timber at fullback, or even swap them. Like genuinely, I'd still take that over Kivior at center back next to Saliba.
Wow,
But that's just me.
that is just you because, coach, I need a response to that.
Uh, um, I was initially leaning to more Ben White starting at centre back, with Timber at right back. That would have been fine with me. But the more I think about it, we're gonna need when we're playing H1, we're going to need to be really good with the ball, and players playing as comfortable as possible. And just leaning onto your left foot when it's your natural side is just, I think it makes the angles you can create is a lot easier than having to check back inside onto your right foot. It's just, yeah. And on top of that as well, Kiwior, to me, I think I was the only one on the last pod when we spoke about selling and whatnot. I'll be okay with keeping him because he's third choice, fourth choice level, and he plays that way and he fulfills that role. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, for his own career, he probably needs to leave because all footballers want to play every week, kind of thing. But selfishly for Arsenal, I have no issue with him, filling in as the third choice because that's what he is. And I can't think of many better third choice. It's almost like the Nketiah sort of situation. Like, how many better second or third choice strikers in the league are better than Nketiah? Do you know what I'm saying? When he was at Arsenal, at least, and how many? I'm not saying there aren't any, but saying how many. And the same thing with Kyrgios. Like, yeah, Kyrgios for me, like, starts for quite a lot of Premier League teams anyway. But in terms of actual rotational, like, there aren't many better than him, in my opinion, anyway.
All right, fair enough. Well said, coach. Gabby, I like to throw the start of the game to you because because we always hate it, I think. So if it's actually good for once, I feel like you do acknowledge it. So what did you make up today's start? Um,
Today's start wasn't bad. I thought that I always feel like we do nonsense at Goodison Park, so the nonsense that happened wasn't our fault today. But I felt like we started off well. It wasn't like I'll say this: the start of the first half was way better than the start of the second half. Like the start of the second half, we looked out of sorts, but we didn't look out of sorts when he blew the whistle at start of first. It looked like we were ready to go. Like everybody seemed like they were, even the players who have been out of the team for a while, seemed like they were up for it. They were pushing for that goal. They were playing with urgency, at least for me. And they were getting stuck in. Like we knew we had to today.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I agree with that because the first highlight I can remember from the game was Sterling taking a shot, which would not have been on my bingo card, and I was blocked by Tim Hirobunam, a name that no one will ever pronounce correctly on TV because that's his parents' fault for having him in England. They could have had him in Nigeria. Anyway, the other big highlight was Declan Rice hitting a corner that almost went in. He almost scored in Olympico, but Jeremy Branthwaite cleared it off the line. So I'm just skipping through this because I think we're going to talk more about Madrid than this Everton game. It just wasn't very eventful. That said, coach, at any point, feel free to cut in because I feel like you always have. That's why we call you coach. You always have these observations about the game. No, that is genuinely why we call you that. You have the observations about the game. So please feel free to interrupt if the host is just speeding through this too fast for you. But I'm going to skip straight to the goal because it's the sort of goal that, oh, okay, coach is calling. Coach is
I,
calling.
I just wanted to say that, how you've lamented that why Rice doesn't play more on his strong side and whatever else kind of thing. I think this first half especially, we saw more of what he can provide there, especially the way that he just chases things down. um and I've said it 100 times, we all know he's a tactical cheat code with and without the ball, but especially without the ball, I think him being on that right hand side, especially let's just say if Saka's there, those higher turnovers kind of thing, if he's winning the ball that high up kind of thing, he can just play like a simple pass into Saka to, square his man up or even get a shot off kind of thing. You can score a lot of goals like that, or at least create a lot of dangerous chances like that. And I think in the first half he led our team in terms of regaining the ball and tackles and stuff like that. And I think it's just it's a bit more natural for him now, at least. It wasn't initially, but it's a bit more natural for him to dominate that side of the pitch as well. The left hand side, I think he's asked to do a lot more offensively than defensively, to be honest. But yeah, I will say as well, to be honest, Marino, he was maybe my second or third best player today, because of the calm that he brought in midfield, but also the fact that he was, he was up for the fight. You got a cut for his troubles as well, like defending his box. But it goes unnoticed. He's really he's got poser. Like, it goes unnoticed, but he has, and nobody wants to admit it because he's 6'3".
I feel like you're gaslighting us, coach, because I remember being in England sitting next to you and we were talking about Merino, and I was saying that he had pause and you were saying he was just too slow for the league.
No. What I was saying is that it's all stemmed from the Bournemouth game, when I was just like, I observed that, oh right, he's pushing up high in the 4-4-2. He's one of the two kind of thing. But I was like, I don't know if I want him, that high up. To me, it's a lot better for him to come
But
onto things.
you definitely did not want it. It's not that you don't know. You
Yeah,
knew that you did not
yeah,
want that shit.
yeah.
It was
And I,
vociferous.
yeah, and I think it was, and I think he's grown a lot more in confidence. But he's a midfielder. He is. He's very much a midfielder. So despite us playing him up top or whatever else, so I think some of the qualities that he's shown, he won quite a few fouls today just by taking the ball on the half turn and then getting his body in between the man and the ball. Those are things that you just want to see a lot more of. So yeah, I was pleased with the midfield generally. I'd say.
Yeah. I'm glad you stopped me because I was legit about to just run through this game. Like I really want to go back to sleep. But Gabby, your boy Georgie was the other part of that midfield, and Coach has so kindly talked about the first two. What did you make of his inclusion today? I thought he brought a lot of calm to proceedings as well.
He definitely did. I think he always does, though. Georgie's very good at being the maestro in the midfield. Um, he we didn't get to see too much of his like extraordinary passing in this game, I felt like, but he did pick a few good passes. I felt like he kept the tempo ticking a lot better than we've seen recently. We've been slowing down the game a lot more than I like recently. And I felt like we had really good tempo in this game, at least in the first half. Second half is something else.
Yeah. It's a little different. Back to Raheem real quick. I saw a tweet during the game, or maybe at halftime, that stated that because there was a moment where he tried to win a foul, he fell over, looked at the ref, didn't get the foul, got up, then fell over again, looked at the ref, still didn't get the foul. And someone pointed out that when he was at City, he got those calls all the time.
Oh yeah, I retweeted that too.
Okay, maybe it was your retweet that because I was like, that actually never occurred to me. Do either one of you buy that as a theory?
100%, 100%, 100%, guys. Like, we know, but
I
when
feel
we
attacked.
when
No,
we say
let's be real though. Like if you when you watch Harry Kane, let's put it like not like a foul like in outside the box. Let's put a foul inside the box. Penalties are high thresholds to get, right? When you see Harry Kane playing, he does specific things that'll get him the pen. If he was playing for Arsenal, you know he would not get the pens as often. Like then you wouldn't do those things as
if
often.
he was
Like
if he was England captain at Arsenal, I think even the PGMOL are not that stupid not to prop him up a little bit. But with that being said,
Bro, with the way they've treated Rice this season, I'm not sure about that.
no.
but with that being said though, there is put it like this: we've all said, look, ref differently, ref differently, ref differently. All the evidence, all the data all suggests that it's true. So yeah, Raheem Sterling would absolutely get those fouls today if he was wearing a sky blue shirt. That there's no doubt in my mind. But just on him today, we'll get onto his assist, I suppose. The chance he could have scored, kind of thing. That's his bread and butter. And I don't think since he's played for Arsenal, I don't think he's even got into that position once.
I
And
think
I'm scraping,
like Preston North End, I think, in the second.
maybe actually, yeah, actually, my bad. But yeah, I know I'm scraping the barrel here, but that's a good
Just a little bit.
yeah, no, that's a good sign, not just for him, but for whoever's playing there. That when we go down the right hand side, you should be flooding the box. You should be there to be on the end of that chance, on that chance, kind of thing. If it's not him, it should be Martinelli or Nico Williams next season. So yeah,
In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Amen. Yo, I'm about to fast 40 days and 40 nights to make this shit happen, man. Come on, Berta. All right, we're skipping straight to the goal now. I know things happened in between. Coach mentioned Marino shedding some blood for the cause today. Clash of head with Branthwaite. One of my friends suggested that he should come off immediately afterwards because we need him for Madrid, and I was like, "But who's coming on?"
Yeah, he's not coming off.
Because he's literally playing the midfield to kind of save Rice's legs a bit, like even though Rice is going to run around a bunch, but mainly Odegaard, who I'm like, why are we say he looks tired all the time these days? Just let him play, man. Like,
Let's get to the goal. Why you a lick for Odegaard? Like,
I'm here to hate. I'm here to hate. All right, 35th minute. Everton lost the ball in midfield. There was a bit of confusion there between, I think, Tarkowski and Ganagay. Ball drops to Sterling, runs right at the defense. Exactly what you'd expect in that situation. Lays it off Trossard. Beautiful finish. Uh, Gabby, do you think our play to that point deserved the goal?
yes. I actually do. And I think I tweeted this too. I was like, I don't remember the last time we scored a transition goal like this, like genuinely. It's been a while because I genuinely can't think of one.
I'm thinking PSV away.
PSV maybe, and also City at home. We scored a couple, I think.
Yeah, City at home with Kai one. But it was nice to see one that we scored a transition goal. Because I feel like we've been with a lot of the transfer targets that we're linked with, we've been talking about that a lot. With how we might change our play just a little bit. And Trossard, one thing about him, he's gonna come out with some GA. Like he could have a stinker and still come out with GA.
Right.
And it was just a really good finish. Like just a really good finish. Just Sterling taking the ball and running directly at his defenders. I love to see a player being intentional and also having defenders running towards their own goal. That's what you should always have your defenders doing, and we don't do it enough. And technically, it's because of the way that teams play against us. We have the ball more, and they're in their own box. But when we can, I feel like we tend to mess up those transitions a lot, which very much irks me. Um,
Sorry.
we don't even get shots on goal most of the time. We'll get like go for a corner or some bullshit, and I'm just like, why do we not score these? Why do we not score these? So yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that all day, all night. Good finish.
That's what's up. Yeah, I want to say, I think this is a good point to discuss Trossard's overall performance. But before we do that, Coach, I just remembered that in the chat when we scored that goal, you said you expect to see a lot more of that in the future. What did you mean by that?
Um,
Sorry,
again,
I cannot laugh when you say that.
that's
What do you mean by that?
I'm just thinking of juice at this point.
By that.
We might actually we might have to get the editor to splice that in sometime. But yeah, put it like this: our transfer targets that we linked with leans more into that, but also every year since Arteta's taken over, I think this year has probably been the only one. I think purely because of injuries, we've seen an evolution in our attack one way or the other, and I think the next one is number one, obviously having a really really dependable forward through the middle of the pitch, but also um high turnovers and goals, or just counter attacking goals. Now Arteta has, talked about how many times he wants to dominate teams, and he wants to, scoring counter attack goals he's not averse to, but he'd rather score a counter attack goal at 3 or 4-0 than at 1 or 2-0. Basically, that's what it's very clear that's what he wants now. But the fact that we scored a counter attacking goal at 0-0 probably tells me that I feel like he's kind of loosening the reins a little bit on that side of his philosophy. So yeah, let's say we get a Nico Williams, and worst case scenario we get Gyökeres kind of thing. These are players that thrive in big spaces. That's, I think, a good place for our attack to go. And we know Saka in our counter attack is just ridiculous anyway because of how well he makes decisions and how well he weights his passes and crosses. So yeah, I definitely want to see more of that, and I'm pleased for Sterling. I am. I can't lie to you. Like he's been so crap for us, but as a player, and that's what I hear about him as off the pitch and stuff. I'm just so pleased for him. I think he's fantastic. So yeah, really happy for him, man.
Yeah, I guess it's nice for him to show things that will let at least one other manager in England or wherever he wants to live next. Maybe it's an MLS manager watching him going, oh.
Not too much praise for Jamaican man. Next, let's go.
At least somebody somewhere is saying he still got something. We can still pay him money to play the sport because There were points earlier this season where you don't want to go too hard for a variety of reasons, but I was looking at him like I think he's done. But I've seen enough to know that he's not done, even if he's not Arsenal level. So that's nice at least. So, um, I guess it was halftime. Some things happened between the goal and halftime, but I mean, I remember an Iliman Ndiaye shot that was kind of wild. I remember Pickford almost crunching Trossard because that's what that asshole does. We probably should have scored that chance. I think the touch Trossard took before he was about to shoot was too out of control, and that's how the chance went. That could have been 2-0 right there, but there wasn't much to talk about after the goal happened in the game. I pretty much covered it all. So at halftime, I really wasn't expecting much to happen. I didn't expect any changes until the hour mark. But Gabby, you made the note that we'd swapped our wingers out. Bukayo and Gabby Martinelli came in for Ethan, who had a relatively quiet game today, I would say. Not a bad game, just a quiet one. And on the other side, Raheem Sterling, who, despite coach's barrel scraping, was only deemed worthy of 45 minutes. um, I kid. I think I don't know if you feel differently, Gabby, but I feel as if the substitutions today, starting with these halftime substitutions, were all really with an eye towards Madrid, getting people fitness, getting people minutes. Do you feel differently, or do you think it was like more performance based? Like,
No, it was cardio. Like, time to get them cardio. 45 minutes in the legs. Wait, less than 45 minutes because the ref blew the whistle early, but whatever. Um, I felt like Arteta was just kind of. I didn't expect them to be changed at halftime. Also, I was thinking 70th minute, the 60th minute maybe. But he was like, "Fuck it, just put him on," and I was like, "You know what? Fair enough." It just it makes sense to have two of the players who literally need to start to get a good amount of minutes in their legs in this game, especially when they're playing a team that is going to be quite physical. Because I don't think Madrid is going to be as physical. They're going to leave a lot more spaces open. So you might be doing a lot of running in that game um, to get them ready for that. And I will never complain about Bukayo Saka coming on. So Martinelli, whatever.
you need to stop that. We're gonna talk about Gabby. But coach, Gabby mentioned earlier that the start of the second half was just not it. And you would think that given the people who came into the game, that the intensity would have gone up. Any thoughts on why we seemed a little sluggish? Because there was a moment where Raya came out, missed the ball. Beto almost had a chance at an open net, basically. Then seconds later, we're going to talk about what happened, but we all know what happened. But what do you think led us to that sort of slow start?
David Moyes telling these players that he's gonna perform prima nocta if they don't fix up their ideas. Basically, yeah, he gave them the hairdryer, 100%. That's what happened. And no matter how well you play and how good your players are, those first 5 minutes after your coach was giving you a rollicking, you quite literally all play like 11 Ballon d'Or level players. That's usually what happens. And yeah, they ran harder. Arsenal probably wasn't expecting them to be that aggressive. Saka, Martinelli coming into the game and they're cold basically. Yeah, those first 2 minutes, it is what it is. I think. But I just said to myself that it would be ironic that we've rotated heavily with, especially with our attack, and our two best attackers basically come on and automatically we look worse. That's kind of the story of football.
Jesus
That's how it
Christ.
goes. But that being said, I think Martinelli was again really good this second half, but we'll get onto that. But yeah, that's what can happen sometimes, Eric, I think.
All right, so to the moment that essentially decided this game in my eyes, a ball over the top. I don't know who played it. For a brief moment in real time, I thought Kivior could have gotten there, but on
Yeah, I was like, huh?
yeah, on replay it was way above his head. It was way there was no way he was gonna get there because I was like, why'd you let that drop over you? Like you're leaving responsibility.
You just wanted to lick a white man. That's what you wanted to do.
Hey man, I don't. I mean, where do you not live in America or not? You see what these motherfuckers is doing? Come on, man. Anywho, ball drops over his head into MLS's zone. Him and Harrison are lightly grappling outside the box. They get into the box. I would argue that Harrison basically fouls MLS enough to drop MLS, that
100%.
he falls over. And the ref, you can tell, like I feel like that foul was not even a foul. That coming together was so soft that the ref had to want to give it. Because it was so soon in the half as well. It was like, bro, like I don't know. I'll stop. Gabby, am I tripping or do you agree with my feelings on this one?
No, I was begging you to throw it to me. Listen. Nonsense. PGMOL nonsense. And the worst part is he lets him go. MLS quite literally lets him go as soon as he gets to the box. He like has the wherewithal to be like, I'm getting into the box just in case. Let me let him go. If he falls, whatever. But the contact started outside the box. What are we doing here? That is a 50-50 that they're quite honestly, if that happens to an Arsenal player who's running to the box, let's say it's Trossard or Saka, you're not giving a penalty for that. You're not. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand. And the worst part about him giving the pen is that he doesn't even go to VAR to check it. He just says, it's checked. We're giving it.
Well,
Like, you don't even go to the screen. You didn't even watch it.
Yes, Stuart Atwell confirmed for him, so it's like there's no need for him to do that. So here's my thing, right? We said it 100 times, yeah. They have said so many times that they don't want refs re-reffing the game, whatever, blah blah blah. We're the only team where when it's time to re-ref the game, they'll re-ref it, and when it's time to not re-ref, when it's time to actually re-ref the game, they won't re-ref it. You see what I'm saying?
right.
Like we always get the short end of the stick for some reason, and always get the harshest punishment for things. Now, talking about the technicalities of the foul, right, guys? We see those sorts of challenges all over the pitch, and the ref just literally waves it on most of the time. And if he does give a foul, he normally gives the foul to the player that's in MLS's position, not the other way around. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, Gabby, you're right, and Dean, to be honest, like if the ref can't give that unless he just genuinely wanted to, like, and it's cowardice as well because he's passing the buck basically. He's given the decision to his mate to basically confirm for him. So they say, oh yeah, look, two people agree with it. Whereas if you don't give anything, VAR are not going to come in and say, no, go look at that again. That's the pen. They're not going to because you haven't made the decision. You haven't made a decision. You literally just let play carry on. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I will always maintain that as long as Howard Webb is in charge and as long as there's a clear identity um, in the British game with making referee celebrities, that this kind of thing is going to continue to happen. And it's not just about Arsenal. Tarkovsky shouldn't even be playing today, considering what he did midweek. He just shouldn't be playing today. There's it affects us all, right? And I'm not talking Arsenal. I'm talking to everybody. It affects us all. This game, the way refs are carrying on now, and you're gonna see more bullshit like this. We're gonna see more, potentially dangerous tackles not being punished correctly and players, livelihoods being put in danger because refs only care about what's going to get them the biggest headline. Something for Howard Webb to talk about on his show that he does with Michael Owen. That's what it is. They need more content, and believe you me, this challenge is going on Howard Webb's show 100%.
Not to mention, I already said, we've all agreed on this before, but like I've already said today, like penalties should always have the highest threshold. For you to give a penalty that's so incredibly soft is so ridiculous to me. That is something that we say. I think Dean said it the first time on this pod, is that we always get the harshest punishment for some of the softest fouls. Like it's just so egregious to me that it's happening so frequently. Like, so frequently. The amount of fouls that the amount of things that have gone against us, the harshest punishments that have gone against us this season specifically is actually crazy.
Yeah, it's wild how Marino got headbutted to the point of bleeding, and we didn't get a penalty for that. I remember when Saliba came together with Yao Pedro, and Brighton got a point off that shit. I remember that. I mean, I'm not that old. I remember that. That said, I want to drill down slightly deeper. Maybe I'm being a little too paranoid here, but Gabby, do you get a sense that referees might be targeting a particular player in our team? Because it
I
feels
don't think
the number of incidents MLS has been involved in, especially given the fact that the first of them was overturned. It feels like it's a lot. Like before he even debuted for the club, he got booked. So it feels like they might have an eye out for this kid or something. Maybe I'm being paranoid.
so. I don't like to say that referees are targeting or bringing out personal vendettas against players. I always say it's an Arsenal thing, not a player thing. But for MLS, he has the Xhaka thing now. Genuinely, he has the bad reputation now. He's a nasty player type of thing. I think narratives, unfortunately, in England matter. Actually, I shouldn't even say in England because they matter in Spain too. We've seen it with black players, but like they matter so much in England, and that this media thing that they're doing, where they're saying MLS is a nasty player, an arrogant player, disrespectful, or whatever else that they're saying, whatever nonsense that they're saying, it is being included in the bias that they're using to referee games now, and I don't like that, and I don't think it should be like that. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, we've seen Son step on people's ankles and kick people down and do. You never ever hear that he's a nasty player. Never.
Because he just smiles. He smiles and he plays for Tottenham, and he's not
I've seen
hurting.
Harry
He's not
Kane
even hurting
elbow
anyone.
Gabrielle in the face and in the neck and not get a red card. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm
Wait,
sorry.
didn't Son break someone's leg? Was it Andre Gomes?
Oh, he cried,
Wasn't
so it's all right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. He cried. Yeah, so it's fine. Same way
Like,
Ryan Shawcross cried when he broke Aaron Ramsey's leg. So
right.
yeah,
A player that they still boo to this day. They
yeah,
booed him this year.
yeah,
Yeah. Cardiff won though. But
yeah. Exactly. I was gonna say yeah, man. You shout on them again.
yeah.
yeah, I think that it's definitely going into the bias of refereeing him now, and I don't like that because it's an unfair bias. It's not like Jacques I can understand kind of a little bit, but MLS hasn't done anything to deserve this at all.
At all.
The whole, well, he's got 2 red cards already. He needs to be careful. One of them was an undeserved red card that was revoked. What are we talking about?
Right.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, by some calculations, 11 of Arsenal's drop points this season are directly attributable to really questionable calls by referees. So I'm just saying, Liverpool already 12, potentially 14 points ahead of Arsenal. PGMOL can stop now. They're gonna win it. It's okay. Like, just ref us normal. It's cool now. Like, it's all good. Like the little David Cool thing, you've smoothed it over. You gave them the little chip. Keep it pushing, guys. Please, enough.
I
That's
mean,
it.
not to mention, I will say, Mikel even went into the press conference, and he hates complaining about the refs now. He doesn't like to do it anymore, but he even said that's not enough contact. He said it starts outside the box, not enough contact. Inside the box, there's nothing. Like, what are you looking at?
Hey man, Mikel is he's probably too smart for England. That's the problem, really. And they know it. And they
Yeah. I was gonna say this. It's really really difficult to kind of defend the way the British media treat these people, treat like managers, especially managers don't don't try to basically suck up to them, or don't have a certain level or certain type of charisma. Um, the reason why Pep Guardiola has never really had an issue in England is because he was stamped from before he got here, basically, right? The reason why Mourinho never had a problem in England mostly was because, again, he played into the media circus. Like he gave them all the time.
headlines. Yeah,
Yeah, he gave them, like, he played into it, like, he gave them what they wanted, and he knew it, basically. Sir Alex Ferguson, I mean, he was, he's the devil, so it is what it is with him. But with certain managers, and I'm not just talking about
coach.
go oh, is that better?
That's better.
Okay.
Much better.
Yeah. The reason why, not just Arsenal managers, but again, let's just use Arsene Wenger for example, the fact that they don't care for all of this sort of, bending the knee or whatever else, or just doing what you need to do to keep them on side. They don't care for it. They just want to manage their team, basically, and talk about the important things that happens on the pitch, not refereeing decisions, not, slanging matches, other managers and stuff like that. And you end up creating an atmosphere that, Arteta's hated by so many people, and they can't put their finger on why they hate him.
It's weird.
It's so weird, and it's because it bleeds into the way we're refed. I'm sorry, it does. It bleeds into the way we're refed, but it's because they can't quite pin him down because he's not with their bullshit. He doesn't care enough. Like, you see how he scowls at some of these reporters, and because he knows they're full of shit. Like, he knows it. And you see how he talks to other people in the media, and he actually opens up to them because he really, really, he really respects them, at least to a degree. But most of the media, I'm sorry, they're crap. They're rubbish. They're not fit for purpose. They just are.
And I would say the only last thing I have to say about refs is at the end of the day, I just wish like somebody like Thierry Henry or an important figure on TV would say this because it needs to be said. At the end of the day, no one, and when I say no one, I mean no one in the stadium, no one at home, no one watching online, no one is paying to watch the referees. No one. We don't care about you. We don't want to know your names. You should be seen, not heard. Like,
Yeah, that's not gonna work for me, brother. Howard Webb and Hulk Hogan. On the other hand on the other side of the refereeing ledger, we have players like Tarkovsky, who we've already hinted at, but he now holds the record after fouling MLS after a lovely run after the goal. Like MLS almost wanted to make up for that moment in one run. Holds a couple people off, runs through half the field. Tarkovsky fouls him. We got a free kick in a good area. Three of us know that we're not going to do shit from that free kick, so I'm not going to talk about that. I want to stay on this refereeing thing a little longer. This is the other side of it. James Tarkovsky now holds the record for the highest number of yellow cards received in the Premier League without getting a red card. He's a center back. He played for Sean Dyche's Burnley. He played for Sean Dyche's Everton, and he's now playing for that David Moyes' Everton. Gabby, do you have any thoughts on why someone like James Tarkowski has been able to have such a long career in the Premier League and never get red carded? Even though, I mean, we saw the tackle on McAllister in the midweek against Liverpool. That was damn near an attempted murder. But any thoughts on why someone like him gets away with stuff, but someone like MLS, who's just starting his career and has literally done nothing to anybody, is getting the short end of the stick?
what did our boy say? Is it the underbelly? Is it the underbelly?
It is the
Oh.
underbelly. It might be the underbelly, but when you talk about it, people act as if you're paranoid or you're crazy. So they call Arsenal fans complainers, but if you just look at it objectively, it's right there. If you don't see it, it's because you don't want to see it. Coach, you're from the area. How do refs treat you when you go play your football games and shit? I mean, because I know you're in London, so the white people there are probably like 2% better than the ones from like Newcastle, perhaps. But do refs give off the same vibes that we get from the PGML lot?
The thing is, right, refereeing in general in this country, they're supported a lot, basically, in terms of the way like you're able to, all of the courses and all of all that kind of thing. So there's varying levels of what you get from referees, right? But one thing that every single ref has in common, from Luigi Colina all the way down to whoever else, basically David Coote or whatever, is they're the authoritative figure on the football pitch. Whether you like to admit it or not, they're the one point of authority on the pitch, no matter how hard Roy Keane tried to change that. And there's a level of respect that you have for them, even if you think they're pricks, kind of thing. And once a referee, usually within the first 2-3 minutes, right? Once a referee makes a certain sort of decision, um, that's usually how the game goes for the rest of the time and how you react to it, basically. So if the ref makes a decision badly in your favor, badly, sorry, and it goes, but it's in your favor, kind of thing. If you smart the ref, whatever kind of thing, the ref's probably gonna let a few more things go. That's what I've noticed, at least. Whereas if you react badly, kind of thing, it's almost like oh yeah, don't call me out on it, and you'll be okay, kind of thing. That's almost the vibe that I've gotten in, and sometimes you see that in the Premier League as well. Like the ref will make a mistake, the players complain, and the ref doesn't get any better after that. He actually gets worse. Um, so that's my one takeaway, one observation, and I've heard some of these conversations as well. Like the refs don't like to be accountable. Some of them, at least, anyway. They don't like it. They don't like the idea of it. You know.
I feel
So
like I feel like you're describing all my exes. What the hell? Um, I kid, I kid. Not that my exes would ever listen to what I'm doing. Like, come on now, these sensible women. Um, Next sub was Jorginho for Odegaard, Gabby. I'm not. We know why the sub was made, but when it happened, did you think there was a chance that Arsenal would actually play better or do something in the game because we made that substitution?
I don't
Yeah.
know why you asking me. I should ask you since you have so much to say.
No, well, I'm just the host. I ain't got nothing to say.
Niggas been talking shit in the group chat. Don't want to say it on the pod. Say less. Um, did I expect them to get better? I don't know if we could get any better in this game. I thought this game was just very whatever, low vibrations. Um, I was hoping we could create more chances to score, which we didn't do, which was frustrating. We had maybe one chance to score, and it was um the the Odegaard chance that honestly I felt like it was a half chance
You
in
know
my
what?
opinion.
I'm gonna cut you. Apologies. Because the other substitution 5 minutes later was Tyranny for MLS, and he, as you quite love, overlaps. And according to the stats, I don't remember all of them myself, but he supposedly created 3 chances in the 15 minutes he was on the pitch. One of which Odegaard wasted. We don't need to go too deep on that because I'll go on forever. The Marino header that went wide, if his head wasn't bleeding, he probably scores that, but whatever. The third one I don't remember. But do you want to give the listeners a bit of a soliloquy on why you think we need that profile in the at the club still?
Listen, I don't care what anybody says. We need another overlapping fullback. Like I want us to simplify our system. I want us to simplify our system just a little bit. I personally want to tweak a lot of things in our system, but if you're gonna do one thing, just do that. Just do that. Get an overlapping fullback on the left side. We are inverting right now on the left side, and it's working with the Calafiori and a Miles Lewis Skelly, um, both of which could be playing different positions in general. But I just feel like the left side needs more help. They need more help. They need somebody who's bombing up and down, overlapping to give another option and to get the ball back into the box. We're doing a lot of foreplay FC, teasing FC nonsense where we're playing in like around the box, passing back to the center, then passing back to the fullback, then passing back to the center, then passing back to the fullback. I don't want to see that. Get the ball into the box. And I'm not saying crosses are going to work because they're obviously low
Efficiency.
opportunity of scoring, but like even a low cross, even if you we don't I we say all the time we don't get the nonsense goal. We don't get the like you don't shoot, you can't score. You know what I mean? We don't get the happy bounce. We never get those. So when we do get them, we're like surprised. I feel like even if you put a few more low crosses in there, one of them can bounce off into the box and we can get a shot away. One of them can bounce off into their own net. You know what I mean? Like one of them can bounce off into their hand and we can get a handball, maybe. But we don't cross enough. We don't low cross enough in my opinion. We cross into the air. We overhit the ball trying to hit a Kai Havertz or Mikel Moreno, but like sometimes I just want to see you get down to the byline and cut it back into the box.
Just smash it in across the floor.
Yeah.
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 So are you guys uniting under Brexit now? You both want this profile on the left because I feel like this is a really I mean I like I obviously asked the leading question that led to this conversation. However, I think it's a bit weird to have this conversation after the last two Martinelli performances we just watched.
Well, that was good. That's what I wanted to kind of lean into here because this version of Martinelli that's confident, that's running at his man. He's
That's
not
engaged.
he's not doing yeah. Well, yeah, being engaged will level you up. I can attest to that. but yeah, he's not doing his Jack Grealish impression where he's just yeah that version of Martinelli I just didn't enjoy. I'm gonna stick my neck out and say I think he hasn't been fit the entire season, and we've only just got him back to he hasn't got any more niggles basically or
I
whatever.
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, like I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt there, but when Martinelli's playing like that, it doesn't really matter if you've got a full overlapping fullback or inverting fullback because he needs to be double marked. He needs to be double teams. And if he's not, and you add an extra layer there of a player like running in and around him kind of thing, he's gonna look even better. He created some good chances today himself. He also created a chance for himself where the one thing I miss about Martinelli is creating separation for his own shot, and he did that today so well. And he just needs to do it more. Just keep doing it more and more and more. You don't shoot, you don't score. The players that we're linked with in these positions do that incredibly well, and I think you can't discount the value of that. And the more sort of players you have like that, even in the same position, the better, like literally the better. Imagine you job share with someone 60 minutes. What like you got a Champions League game in midweek, so you do 60 minutes on a Saturday, and then Nico Williams comes on for the last 30 minutes on what do you call it on the Saturday basically, and then he starts on a Wednesday. Then Martinelli finishes off that game. Like the fullback is in hell for the entire game. So yeah, I think that the overlapping fullback from the left is a great option, and I'm not against it, but with Ben White today in the first half, he gave us the option numerous times, and before the knee injury, he was overlapping like a hooligan. And I love that version of Ben White. Yeah, we know he's great infield. He's a fantastic passer, and he plays multiple. He's a multifunctional player. But when Ben White overlaps, he literally looks like a racehorse. I'm fortunate enough to see it up close up close, should I say? And he glides. He literally just glides into the space. Like
Yeah,
it's wonderful, man. So yeah, more of that on the right hand side. I think it definitely helps our attack in general.
yeah, I think according to folks like you that actually get to go to games on a regular basis, apparently Ben White is like the most physically gifted player in the squad. Like he apparently just has an engine, like just the way he moves. Apparently,
He
I don't know if you can play for Leeds if you're not.
Yeah, exactly. The murder ball as well. But what it is with Ben White is that he absorbs games better than anybody else. I think that's the underlying thing. So he looks fresher than everybody else, despite him playing probably more than anybody else as well. He absorbed them so well. So he can go in the 75th minute. He can make another 3-4 high intensity sprints, no problem, because that's just the nature of his game. And we have to be honest here. We talk about Odegaard's form being linked to Saka's. I generally do think Saka is great without any of those guys, but Saka gets even better with Ben White anyway. So yeah, I'm happy he's back. Genuinely, I think
uh,
that dimension of our game has been sorely missed.
for sure. I mean, I think we're all very happy that Ben White is back. But Gabby, what did you make of his performance today?
I thought Ben White attacking wise was good. He doesn't always have like the numbers to back him up, like GA wise, but he's always pretty good when he overlaps. He's always looking to like help his winger, even if it's not Saka, but like him and Saka link up the best. Obviously, they have the most chemistry. I thought defending a little bit. The one moment where he stressed me out just a little bit. I can't remember if it happened in that first half or the second half where he runs into his own box with the ball and loses it. And they get like a shot away that Raya saves. But it was just like that was rustiness. That was definitely rustiness.
Uh,
Um, but defending wise, I mean, we know what he is. We know what he's gonna be when he's up to speed. I'm not worried about him. I just felt like he was still a little bit rusty, especially because he missed the last game. He didn't have any minutes in the last game.
all right. So how involved should he be in the Real Madrid tie?
Well, you already know what I think. I still think he should start, but I want him to start at fullback. I don't want to see him against a Vinny Jr. or a Rodrigo.
Yeah, he can't start at fullback. I don't like because that's the one. If there's
I
one
mean,
thing,
I said it back. Yeah,
yeah, if there's one thing I consider a weakness in Ben White's game, is his one-on-one defending
yeah,
against.
exactly.
Yeah,
Play him at center back.
yeah. Go on, coach.
Yeah, I agree and disagree at the same time with that. The
Bro, you
the
gotta pick a side, man. Like
the
that's
one
politics.
player,
Okay? We pick
the,
a side in America. You either a Republican or you're a piece of shit.
the
That's how we rolling these days.
but I think the one player that has consistently stressed Ben White in his time in the Premier League, not just at Arsenal, is Marcus Rashford.
Yes.
Um, so while I agree that yeah, his 1v1 defending is questionable, how many times have we actually seen him outside of Marcus Rashford genuinely struggle? Like, let's be honest with ourselves here. Yeah,
I feel like Matoma gives him a little bit of issues too.
I
not
saw him. Well,
really.
I think he locked that up eventually, but
Yeah,
Mitoma was definitely an issue the first time they met each other. I want to say honestly, like, our aspirations are beyond the Premier League, even though we haven't won it yet.
exactly.
Like, so for me, I'm thinking about the best wingers in the world. Like, I
Mm,
don't particularly want to see the last version of Ben White I saw, even at his peak. I don't want
mm,
to see him against Rashford. I don't want to see him against Vinny. I don't want to see him against Mbappe one on one.
exactly.
That's just and that's
And
with a lot of
that's
guys, but for the things we want to win, I don't want to see him against those guys.
why.
So
And that's why, and that's where I agree, because we haven't seen him against Vinny. I'd rather just not see him against Vinny, basically.
honestly, we
So
don't want to try that
yeah. So
unless
and the thing,
unless he's willing to racially abuse him. Then we can.
But
yeah.
I will ask you guys a question though. How would you rather see a Kivior against a Vinny or a Ben White against a Vinny?
So Kirill would probably in this scenario play left back, right? So he'd be up against Rodrigo. The answer is a resounding no. It's that simple. However,
I don't think he
um,
can match Rodrigo for pace though.
yeah, he's quick.
It's actually
Yeah,
crazy.
But
yeah,
when they get to the box, it's over. It's
yeah.
over.
He's
He's
quick.
giving up pens or he's giving up goals.
Yeah, but I think in the center of the pitch, Ben White is aggressive enough and he's cute enough to be okay, especially with someone like Mbappe. He's not going to play with his back to goal. Ben White can essentially go with him. Now, obviously, he's going to get beaten for pace. That's obvious, but he can be cute. You know what I mean? He can give him a little tug, a little kick here and there, kind of thing. Nothing nasty, kind of thing, but just to throw him off a little bit. And if he does get past him, then Saliba can clean up. That's the way I'm looking at it. But in the wide areas, which is where Real Madrid can absolutely obliterate you, yeah, give me my stocky boxers, give me my MLS, give me my timber there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. And look, you're not going to win every single draw against these guys, but the goal is to make it as uncomfortable for them as possible. And Ben White will probably, give them a massage and a bathrobe on their way to goal in those positions that, at least once in the game. But outside of that, Ben White for me has a huge part to play in this Arsenal project in the next few years, still for me at least. So
Yeah. Okay, but what about in the tie against Real Madrid? Real quick, one sentence. One.
centre back. If he's gonna start centre back.
Okay. Okay. Well said. Thank you, Coach. Gabby, I didn't really want to talk about this, but I realized that we kind of glossed over it when we recorded the last pod. Now that we know what happened to our big Gabby, would you like to give your boy and do an eulogy for your boy, for the wonderful season he had, despite, a very rough season for the club at large. But I think this has maybe been his best performance level since he got to Arsenal, which suggests that it's like linear progress for this guy. He's just been getting better and better and better, and we're really gonna miss him. Even though we've talked about all these alternatives, we all know that nothing comes close to just having Big Gabby, the leader of our defense, in there.
I have to do this eulogy in memes because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. Like this is if anyone has seen that motorcycle meme with the coffin, that's how I feel. Like when he's writing that up, like I was distraught. When he got hurt, I was distraught. I wanted to fall to my knees, genuinely. And we cannot replace him. We cannot.
We cannot. We cannot.
Oh, he's my player of the season. Like this was going to be one of those games. Like this tie was going to be one of those games where Gabriel just signed. She just knew he was going to shine against a Real Madrid. Like he's always up for these big games. Away game. Gabriel is like the best player in the world. Like it's just I'm actually so like my heart hurts right now talking about it. Genuinely,
Like I know life ain't about deserve, but if someone deserved to play in this tie, it would have been Big Gabby, because I feel like
take
this.
all his pain and give it to 5. Like
I feel like this is the sort of match that would have. I think people who know the game, who have watched enough of Arsenal and enough of the Champions League, they rate Gabriel, they rate Big Gabby. But I think that it would have been really great, especially in Brazil, because he's one of those guys that left Brazil early. He didn't really play in their league that much before he went to Europe and started making his career. So he's a relatively unknown compared to a lot of the other Brazilian players, and globally, he's a relatively unknown player. And this tie against the biggest team on the planet would have been perfect for his profile. Would have been perfect for his pay raise. I just feel bad for the guy. I just really feel bad.
right.
I feel
If
worse
I
for.
ever find that Brazil scout guy or whoever it is who runs that account saying Marquinhos is better than Gabriel, I should slap the
No,
shit out
no,
of
no.
you.
The worst one. He said that Beraldo was better.
Lucas Beraldo.
He said, and I was just
Don't
like,
piss me off, man.
I just
Like,
couldn't believe
It's
the
it's the
level of.
underbelly, bro. It's the underbelly.
It's
and this is why you guys got slapped up the other day when he wasn't playing. Is what
and
you deserve.
do you know what's so funny? The guy's not even from Brazil. He's from Liverpool.
Of course he is.
So he just I don't even know why you would even say that. Like Beraldo is such a non-entity in comparison. Like seriously, like yeah, he plays for PSG, but PSG have Patro. Patro is quite literally
He's
60,000 times
he's
better.
PSG's Kivior at
Yeah,
best.
basically at
Like,
best. At best. If Gabriel was at PSG would have a much better chance winning the Champions League, put it like that.
Easily.
But yeah, just on Gabriel, yeah, he's going to be sorely missed, regardless of how well we do for the rest of the season. And on the injuries, all 3 of these players have had their grade 3s. Havertz, Saka, and now Gabriel, basically. Marteta's taken a lot of pelters, and I just think it's really unfair to say that, bringing up articles about players being tired against Aston Villa last season because Arteta was overtraining them and whatever, blah blah blah. Look at our results to second half of last season and tell me he was wrong in doing that. Like literally, tell me he was wrong in doing that. Like that's all I have to say.
Like
And
I know we have to acknowledge these things, Coach, because we're an Arsenal podcast, so and we pay attention to everything going on. But the reason why this wasn't even on the agenda
mm,
is because I just deem it so insignificant to talk
mm,
about. Like It's just emotion. People get
Yeah.
upset and they want to lash out, and the
Mhm.
easiest target is the manager. And I understand it. It doesn't make you right. It doesn't make you worth listening to. It doesn't make you worth acknowledging. Basically, you can go fuck yourselves. There's really nothing to think here.
It's a good suck your mama.
There you go. Like this is happening all over the game. We just saw Jamal Musiala go down. Like, is that Arteta's fault too?
How many Real Madrid injuries, right? Despite how stacked they are, how many injuries have these guys had? Isn't this thingy's second ACL? What's his name? Militao second.
Militao.
His
Yeah.
second ACL. Like,
See?
and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why it is. It's because Real Madrid get further than anybody else year on year in all these competitions. So they have to play all these games, and
Listen,
that's what
you know
happens.
whose fault this is?
Go on.
This is Rodri's fault because
Yeah.
he tore his ACL and he's been yip yapping about doing a players union. Get to work.
Yeah,
Get to work. What you
well,
been doing?
to be honest,
Rehabbing.
it's not
I
just
don't want to hear that shit.
it's not just him though, because years I remember at least 4 or 5 years ago, Courtois to me was the first one to actually be super vocal about it, kind of thing.
And
And
that's
then
a goalkeeper.
exactly,
Yeah,
Don't even
goalkeepers
run.
tearing their ACL is crazy.
exactly, and then there was KDB, then there was Rodri, then there was everybody else that followed suit afterwards. I think Varane as well, before he retired. Um, and regardless of how you want to spin it, right? If you want to be a top player, right, you're going to play a lot of games. That's just the bottom line. So people, moaning about, oh yeah, but he's overplaying them. What do you want him to do? It's like he'll play Kiwior and you complain, why is he playing Kiwior? Oh, we drop points, whatever. And then you don't play him and you start him again. It's like, oh, but he's overplaying him. He literally cannot win. He literally cannot win. And
It's
and
emotion. There's no
you know,
logic.
and then to cap things off, like at the end of the season, right? If you look at the teams that win stuff, all their best players have played the biggest percentage of minutes. It's that simple. So I don't know why. I don't know why. Literally, people talk about, oh, yeah, but okay, fair enough. That's the case. It's the intensity of the how we play. What do you mean? Every single top team on the planet plays a high intensity, physically intensive game. They do. That's why they're at the top, because they can do things at a quicker pace with more intensity for longer than everybody else. That's why they're there, regardless of the style of football. You know what I'm saying? So I don't buy this idea that, oh, but look at how many sprints they. No, 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 no. Every single argument falls flat on its face when you look at the data. Like, I don't know what else there is to say.
Bro, the people that handle these things are professionals. You're on your couch. Just shut up. I'm tired of this. I'm just tired. I'm tired of acknowledging this shit, man. Like this is not logical. It's silly. It's like these are they pay medical professionals to monitor these dudes, and they look at data and they have discussions. Like this is a billion-dollar industry, okay? Like your little ideas of what is right and what is wrong and what a sporting director does and what a medical staff, like you niggas don't know shit. Shut the fuck up and stay off the internet. Go outside, go touch some grass. Let's do predictions before we get out of here. Real Madrid. We're not gonna talk on the pod before then, so it's time to put our nuts on the table. Gabby, you go first. First leg. What is the result?
Oh my gosh. The result for Real Madrid?
Yeah, Arsenal Real Madrid at the Emirates. What are you thinking is gonna happen in that game?
Oh, we're playing at home first. Why
Unfortunate
did I think we were going to the Bernabeu? Um,
corruption.
honestly, I don't know. The Emirates might be a library. Like sometimes we like to do bullshit.
No, 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 no.
No, I mean like in a way that like when we get anxious, we get
No.
quiet at the Emirates. We do.
Regardless, it's Real Madrid. Let me tell you something. Let me just be very clear here. There's a 90% chance I won't be going to the game because of how oversubscribed it is. Basically, like people are going there literally to scream the house down. I've
Sounds
spoken to
like
so
you
many
broke
people.
to me.
Let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
I'm a
So
hater.
so I put it like this. There's that whole idea that we won't turn up, the fans won't turn up. It's not happening. It's going to be. This is the biggest game since the Emirates opened for us. Bigger than 2011 against Barcelona. Like this is the reason why the Emirates was open. Basically, this particular game, these sorts of games, and we're gonna get it again next season as well with Real Madrid again. I hope basically, but yeah, I will carry on, Gabby. Sorry, I cut you there. With
Still not gonna predict anything.
Listen, I think at best, I think we get a draw. genuinely, at best. The way that Real Madrid are conceding on set pieces, Jover might have to do some magic here. I promise you. Mikel Moreno, like, obviously we don't have Gabriel, which sucks because he would have put somebody on a poster. He would have put somebody on a poster. But somebody has to score a header. Somebody has to. I just feel like I don't see us creating enough, and I feel like we would give up too many chances to win, if that makes sense. Unless Real Madrid are not taking their chances and they do nonsense, this is gonna be a draw or a
Uh,
loss.
I don't know. I'm far more optimistic about this than you are. I think we're probably going to concede.
We're
Just
definitely gonna see.
so I can see like a 2-1 result at the Emirates for Arsenal. Real Madrid are not very good defensively. They're a very good team overall, but defensively, they conceded 4 in midweek against Real Sociedad, who are not good this season. So there's always a chance, and every time they've played against Barcelona or any other good teams that are not Atletico Madrid this season, it's been long for them, so I'm hopeful. Coach, what you got?
Well, they're losing right now at home to Valencia, so
Well, there
there's
you
that.
go.
And
Mm.
Carlos
Valencia,
Corberán. Shout out Carlos Corberán.
To be
yeah.
fair, I thought they scored, but I think they talked it off. So
Okay, Diakibi is centre back. I haven't seen a goal he scored, so I'm assuming it's from a set piece on top of that.
what?
Yes.
All right, just answer my question. Let's
Okay, yeah. All right, so I am going to also go 2-1 to Arsenal at home.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you one of the main reasons why is that Real Madrid's firepower is so overwhelming and so it is scary, it is daunting, but they've got a good team front to back, but they aren't as a defensive unit, they aren't that good. They just aren't. Like, and it's not disrespectful to say that about Real Madrid. Like, since when have Real Madrid ever been a solid defensive unit ever, despite all the Champions Leagues? But they've been able to blow teams away because you've got Gareth Bale and Ronaldo just doing whatever the hell things that don't even make sense. Like Gareth Bale will play 4 games in a season, and all 4 of them will be.
All right. Enough.
But,
Enough.
but yeah,
Just
but anyway,
prediction 2-1. Are we done?
Yeah.
All right. All right, coach. Thank you for that. Over here trying to hype these motherfuckers up and scare niggas before we get off the
No,
pod.
not even that. I'm actually just looking again at their team and
No,
Oh.
don't do it. What is wrong with you coward? Anywho, thank you for joining me on this podcast about Arsenal versus Everton. It ended 1-1. And good luck to Arsenal against Real Madrid on Tuesday. We're going to kill these motherfuckers. I bet all my rent money on that shit, man. It's going down. Fuck it. 3-1 this time. Fuck it. Crush out hat trick. All right, folks. See you people.
Peace.
Hey folks, this is Deen from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.